and that was the springboard for the next 12 months.
Yeah, and speaking of the next 12 months, it might have been like a springboard for the team, for the brand, for the gold jersey, for rugby, but it was also a springboard, Tim, for Max Jorgensen. Talk us through what you've seen in his growth and development over the last 12 months as a Test player. Yeah,
the thing for Max Jorgensen I've seen, his awareness, whether he plays on the wing or whether he can play at 15. And I think his game awareness, and he just chooses the right time, whether it's going up for a high ball, and also he communicates to the other players around him as well. So I think through the Lions series he was very good. He was outstanding for the Wallabies, and I just think he hasn't played a lot of footy in the last 2 years or so. Had a few injuries in his early part of his career. I think he's played about 17 or so Test matches. And
I think he's played less than 50 professional matches.
Yeah, so he's still young. He's still got a lot to learn, and he knows that. But I tell you what, he's reading of the play of when to come off his wing and do some work, or when you have to stay on the wing for crossfield kicks or something else. He chooses the right time.
Shep, he's off contract at the end of next year. How important is he for rugby to re-sign? What's the priority you put on Max Jorgensen?
I'd say arguably the most important.
Number one.
I would say in the top three players in Australian rugby that have to be re-signed. Now, the interesting thing about him is that now with R360 continuing to be thrown around, so many international players looking to play in France, and money is going to become a big incentive to try and lure someone like Max Jorgensen. Australian rugby needs to find a way to make sure we keep him here. Now, people are throwing out long-term deals. Does a 21-year-old want to sign a 5-year deal not knowing what might happen with something like R360? I'm not so sure. I would think maybe a shorter deal might be the right idea, but the big thing is going to be money, because he's extremely valuable and everyone's going to want a piece of Max Jorgensen.
Yeah, there's probably 5 players that you have to keep for the next 4 to 5 years. Harry Wilson's already signed, Rob Valentini, Joseph Suaalii. So Max Jorgensen is the next piece of the puzzle that they've got to have your top 5 or 6 players. And we always talk about post-Rugby World Cup. 2 years to Rugby World Cup, you need players to stay after a Rugby World Cup in Australia and play.
Is it just about length of contract, financial figure, or is it more creative ways to keep Max engaged long-term in rugby, whether it's allowing time to go overseas, earn extra money through some other avenues?
Yeah.
Like if you put your contracting hat on, you're in charge of contracting at Rugby Australia, what options are you coming up for Max Jorgensen?
Well, if he signs a 2 or 3 year deal, that's playing in Australia for the next 2 or 3 years. But if you sign a 5-year deal, then you'd allow him to go overseas, have a sabbatical. I hate the word sabbatical, but to go over, play in Japan for an off-season, play in France, give him that opportunity to make a bit extra cash while he's over a 5-year deal. But I actually think it's probably more than that. I actually think it's a marketing ploy from Rugby Australia for all the young boys and girls to see a guy like Max Jorgensen, 19 years of age, come into professional footy, and he's the pin-up boy for those younger generations to come through from schoolboy level.
He is the face of Rugby Australia's Get Into Rugby program, which is to try and get kids engaged in and playing rugby from the youngest
He still
age.
is a kid.
Exactly.
Still looks like a kid.
He's the face of that.
Yeah.
Trying to attract people at the lowest bracket age-wise. Arguably, does that make him a bigger asset or a more important marketing asset to the game than Joseph Suaalii?
Oh, I think they're sort of probably close on the same level. Joseph has been amazing for this 12 months, and what he's brought to the game in marketing speak, and you know the coverage that he's got the game, and he's playing some good footy. So there is going to be injuries going into a Rugby World Cup game, and that's why Joe Smith's trying to broaden this Test team to make sure we've got players. If you lose a 10, you lose a winger, you lose Tom Wright, for instance, you've got someone to step up.
I at the end of my 8-year-old son's rugby season, I did some certificates up for each of them and asked them who their favourite player was. 1 Suaalii out of the team, 2 Jorgensens.
Yeah.
So that tells you how much cut through a 21-year-old bloke is getting with the youngest generation.
There you go.
It's pretty impressive.